Hello everyone and welcome to Season 9 Episode 2 of I See Bad Movies.
Yay!
As you can hear, my name is Dave Keane and I am joined by the secretive, locking, monstrous
I was thinking, don't say monstrous.
Emma Spicer.
Hi.
Hi. Do you know what? You'll never find Emma Spicer in a zoo.
No, you won't.
No.
What is the rest of that song?
You can go to Timbuktu, but you'll never find a Nessie in the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually gives a big clue to the movie we're watching, other than the fact
That it's in the title.
that it's in the title of the episode. I do remember from last
to
episode,
yeah.
I've clicked onto it, and obviously the listeners have clicked onto it as well. Yeah, Emma, even though we know the movie we're watching,
We do.
would you like to tell us?
It is Beneath Loch Ness.
Yay!
And this is particularly offensive to David because obviously
Yes.
set in Scotland
Yes.
with some very sketchy accents.
Oh my God, yes.
So I don't know. This is
So we've seen this before.
Yes, we have.
I also recorded an episode about this before with an old podcast, 50p Movie Club.
Talk about your ex podcast in front of me.
I'm so sorry. I know talking
So
about my ex
hurtful.
is so difficult, but it's been years now. Come on, I thought you'd be over it by now.
No. Yes, so you've already talked about this movie.
I've
So
seen
you've
it-
watched it how many times now? 3?
This will be my third time
Right,
watching
okay.
it. This will be my third time watching it. So
Poor
I've seen it
you.
twice. Yes, I know, because obviously I watched it for 50p Movie Club.
Yeah.
And then we watched it in our
We
kind
watched
of
it just for fun.
lockdown fun bad movie times.
Yes.
I know. God, we punished ourselves.
Why did we do that?
It was just fun hanging out and just
Yeah.
watching absolute rubbish and ripping it apart, I suppose, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And also the takeaways.
And the takeaways, yeah.
They were good. I can't ever deny that. And I also enjoyed your cups of tea. And I'd do it again. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're going to be watching today. And of course, this is our Monsters season.
Yes.
And clearly there is no greater elusive monster in the world than
The
Nessie,
yeah.
who is obviously real.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Obviously
I
real.
don't know why
Do
you
you
had to say that.
Loch Ness is an amazing place, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Not only is it beautiful,
Yeah.
I've never been there. I've seen footage of it. I want to do, there's a walk you can do around Loch Ness.
Yeah.
That's like a couple of days. And I'd really, really love to do it. But if you took all of the water in Loch Ness, or all of the water in the UK,
Yeah.
there's more water in Loch Ness than any other lake, etc.
Oh,
in
wow.
the UK together.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's so big and
enough
deep.
for a monster then.
Yeah, it really is. So I honestly think there's chances of something in there. Chances of something.
There is. We haven't discovered everything in the sea, have we?
No,
So
absolutely not.
It's not actually that ridiculous that there could be something
Yeah.
in there that we haven't discovered, is there?
Oh, did you see? Have you been seeing the TikToks of the wee anglerfish
Yeah.
that swam up to the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
and passed?
And everyone's like wanted to see the sun before
Before it died. I know.
But the photos make it look massive, but it's actually tiny.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
so small. It fits in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
I thought anglerfish
So I
were
thought it
these
was
massive
huge.
things.
Yeah, when I saw a photo
Maybe this
of it,
particular like breed of anglerfish or whatever,
I
or
don't
maybe
know.
it's just a young anglerfish.
I don't know, but yeah, it was tiny, wasn't it? Because I assumed it was
Yeah.
big when I saw one photo of it, and then I saw another photo where it was like, oh, well, it's actually tiny.
Yeah.
I think there was a fishing boat next to it, and I was like, oh, it's actually tiny.
Yeah, I was so surprised when I found that
Yeah.
out. So surprised. Honestly, I was so amazed. But it's heartbreaking some of the stuff that people have made for it. They've put up.
I know.
They've put that really. I can't remember the song. I know I'll remember the song, but they've put that really like inspiring kind of music underneath it as it's swimming to the top, and it's like, and like obviously at the bottom of the ocean, there's lots of pressure on it and that, and as it comes closer up, the pressure lessens. So what's that doing to its body and all that? Oh,
yeah.
And then like I'm seeing animated versions of it where it's like I just wanted to see I wanted to see your light once more. I was like,
But that's the thing.
Oh, it's breaking me
you
inside.
don't think about all these things living at the bottom of the ocean. They're just living in darkness, aren't they?
yeah.
It's so strange.
Oh, I know.
I've never seen the sunlight.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never seen the sunlight.
Yeah.
It's probably getting halfway up there. It's like, oh my God, my eyes!
Been like, I was boiling up here.
I'm very badly burnt.
I'm still alive. I'm just very badly burned.
Anyway, that isn't telling us about the plot of Beneath Loch Ness. So we're gonna so a scientific expedition to Loch Ness runs into trouble when the group leader is killed in a mysterious diving accident. Soon after, when the unorthodox Professor Howell shows up to take over as leader of the group, more strange incidents and attacks start to occur. While Howell and TV producer Elizabeth Borden, who has been financing the team's work in exchange for exclusive footage of their discoveries, are busy investigating the sources of the attack, the body of an enormous sea creature washes up on the lake's shore. Obviously, this is the famed Loch Ness Monster, right? Perhaps not. ...
Dot.
Neil Breen.
Dots, yeah.
So if you don't know, that's a very quick reference to a Neil Breen movie where he says it's called I Am Here, ellipsis now. Ellipsis famously got 3 dots.
Yeah, this one hasn't. It
This
has to be
one,
different, doesn't
4.
it?
4 dots. Like there's more of a weight. Dot.
And then
dot,
for years, if you've had to put that in a text message, you've been doing 4 dots.
I have been.
And I've full well known you've been doing 4 dots, so not said anything, thinking we both know what those 4
we
dots
both
are.
know.
And then recently you said to me, "Oh, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been doing," and I was like, "Yeah." But I thought we both knew you were doing that. And you're like, "No, I didn't know if you noticed."
I just started doing it. I
never mentioned it because I was like, "Oh, it's obviously Neil Breen."
This is obviously an homage to Neil Breen.
I didn't think I needed to mention it, but then you said to me, "Have you noticed that I do 4?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I do 4 dots everywhere.
Yeah.
I even do it at work. Like I'll do 4 dots, but we use Grammarly, and Grammarly always
so
tells me off.
Corrects it. Yeah.
Yeah, always like, "Hey, this is wrong," and I'm like, "Oh, but Neil Breen's so right." Anyway, so shall I flip the coin, and then we'll figure out if we're going to be looking at the bad or the good of this? Let's have a look. Right. So I famously, I've been failing this so often, so I'm going to get it right tonight. Was that perfect or was that perfect?
That was pretty good, yeah. Perfect. But
if I told you I'd been practicing all day, I've got calluses on my thumb from flipping coins.
I know you've been having a nap today because you actually told me that.
I had a nap.
I didn't have a nap, but I did have quite a chilled day because it's the half term,
nice.
so
yeah.
we're both off, aren't we? So it's actually been lovely tonight to get up and do school runs and work.
It's so nice not having to do the
I didn't quite get a nap, but I did have quite a chilled day, so that's nice. Anyway, I'm hoping it's bad. I think it's going to be much more bad stuff than good.
Okay, well let's have a little look at what we've got. Oh, it's actually good, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
let's hope it's better than I remember it then.
Yeah, I know. There's going to be... there could be a lot of bad stuff. So shall we just go and watch this film now?
Unfortunately, yes.
Aye, let's watch it. Well, welcome back, Emma.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so boring.
Oh my God, my thumbs are killing me from the amount of notes I took.
You took a crazy amount of
I've
notes.
taken a crazy amount.
I did not.
I am scrolling. Oh dear. It was painful. It was painful.
It wasn't good, was it?
There was a moment where I was just like, I just can't put up with these accents anymore. I just can't.
The accents were shocking.
Absolutely atrocious.
I don't know how you felt about it because you're actually Scottish. I, as an English person, was sitting there cringing at the accents.
Oh my God.
But it must have made you mad.
Yeah, it really did. It really did just make me mad. It made me mad.
Because if you can't do the accent, then just either write that character as, they come from somewhere else. They don't have to. Just because they live in Scotland doesn't mean they have to be Scottish.
No, I know.
I mean, it'd be a bit silly if nobody was Scottish in Scotland.
True.
But also, could they not just get Scottish actors?
I'm
in
sure
this movie? If they're filming there? Could they not just get some Scottish actors to do?
They weren't filming in Scotland, though.
Oh, okay.
No, it was shot
in
location in some lake up in some lake up in around about LA, sort of outside LA. So it wasn't shot on location. There was a lot of stock footage of Loch Ness, and like there was stock footage one point of them. I'm pretty sure some of it I don't know if some of it was found in there, because I did see a Renault Scenic driving around at one point, which was interesting to see, because I thought, wait a second, was this filmed here? I can't. Let me just double check. Does IMDb tell you locations where it was shot? I don't know. Filming locations. Okay, no, wait a second. Castic Lake State Recreation Area, California. It does say Scotland and UK, but all of the lake shots are a lake, Castaic Lake, California. But there was a bit in Scotland, UK, which I'm guessing is obviously the bits where we saw the car.
Yeah.
And not a lot else, to be perfectly frank.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there was a moment where they were driving on the left side of the road as well, which I thought, okay, well, that must be in the UK at least. So right. So a lot of the notes I took were for the movie itself, because I did look to see if I could find a synopsis that we could cover over.
Yeah.
But I did take a lot of notes of what happened in the film. But the very first note that I took, right, was the movie starts with 2 minutes of credits. 2 minutes of just credits, right?
Yeah.
Different studios as part of the release, directors and cast, etc. But for 2 minutes, underpinning this opening is just heavy breathing.
Yeah. With
the odd bubbly water sound. And I know, look, fine, it's breathing apparatus, they're underwater, but it's still really unnerving just listening to heavy breathing for 2 minutes straight at the beginning of a film. It's like, well, this is
this is weird.
Okay, this is just breathing, just breathing. Have a conversation.
Yeah,
like there's a whole
put
sort
something in there other than breathing.
We go into like an underwater diving scenario straight away.
Yeah,
just have the conversation they were having over the opening credits.
Yeah,
don't do 2 minutes of credits and then talking.
Yeah.
Give me the crap over the credits.
Yeah.
Honestly, just
yeah.
So look. So we got this. Let's go through a synopsis of the movie. So the movie opens on this underwater expedition, right? And they feel this sort of small earthquake happen, but very shortly after this earthquake, the team is kind of attacked by something that's big that they can't really see.
Yeah.
One person dies. A guy called Gus dies. Okay, he's the leader of the expedition that we talked about in the synopsis. So that's the leader of it that dies. We then cut to a scene where we've got a TV producer, Lizzie, or Elizabeth Borden. She's pitching an idea of an investigation into the death as a kind of a mystery show to the channel executive, I imagine. Yeah. But there's this very weird thing. I don't know if you want to talk about this in any of your like notes or whatever. He goes for a shower while she's pitching this meeting to him. Yeah,
I did. I was going to write a note about that, and then I didn't in the end. But yeah, and it's just one of those glass walls. Isn't it? Like
the glass bricks.
Those, I mean, they're not particular. They're not frosted, but they're kind of hard to see through, aren't they? Yeah. You can't see perfectly somebody behind it, but it's an odd place to have a meeting.
You'd clearly see that
he like pokes his head round at one point, doesn't he? Like, and it's I did think that. I thought this is highly unprofessional.
You see him, I don't need to see you lathering yourself up. Maybe that's just what you're used to with TV executives. Really, actually, that's just the whole Me Too movement was full of those kinds of revelations. Yeah. But it was just odd. Like, it was
very odd.
We don't. Yeah, that thing probably happens. But do we need to see it in the film?
Not really.
No, not really. No, that's not what the movie's about. So let's just move on from that. Yeah, but so she's kind of trying to pitch this as an investigation into the death, as a bit of a mystery show. Like, her ideas: what happened? Was it an accident, or is there something more going on in Loch Ness? Okay.
Yeah.
She contacts a fella called Case, who I'm going to apologise now. As I was writing my notes, I started calling him Cole.
Oh.
And so if I start calling him Cole...
I thought he was Chase, but then I realised he was Case.
Yeah. I know. But that's the thing as well, right? This movie
is... Yeah. basically
4 letters.
Yeah.
You choose. And yeah, you'd be right. But I think this is the issue with this film. He's the main character.
Yeah.
But the movie is advertised as Patrick Bergin. That's not him. He's not Patrick Bergin.
Yeah.
Patrick Bergin plays another character that comes in later, Captain Blay.
Oh, okay.
And like, Patrick Bergin is not the main actor, but he's the guy that's got his name at the top because he's the better known actor.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so like, no wonder we're forgetting his character's name.
I can't remember this now. But there was another movie where there was three main characters. I can't remember what it was, but I remember seeing videos online about it because there was, it was advertised all over the posters. Like there was this big star in it.
Yes.
And then someone did a TikTok, I think, and they were like, "Oh, it's like I've watched this movie thinking like my favourite actor's going to be in it."
Oh, okay.
And literally, they had like the tiniest, like one line or something in the whole movie, but because they were a bigger name, they did all the posters like, I don't know, Hugh Grant or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Like it was somebody that famous. It was like Hugh Grant stars in blah blah blah, like whatever movie it was. I can't for the life of me think what movie it was now. And there was like other unknown actors in it.
Yeah.
But they've put all the posters up everywhere, starring Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
And then somebody watched it because they like Hugh Grant, and then it's gone. He's in it for like a second, and
honestly,
the main characters aren't even on the poster.
Look, I get it.
Yeah, that's marketing.
You're going to do what you want to do to market a movie, but
you're going to get people to watch it, I guess, that way, aren't you? But it's a bit sneaky.
You know, everyone's walking out of that movie going
disappointed.
I feel cheated somehow.
And it's like I've noticed with a lot of the kids' movies, not so much now, but like when the kids were younger, like cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
They will put a really funny clip in the trailer.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, "Oh, mummy, I want to see that bit. I want to see that bit." And you go there. One of them, I think it might have been the Wreck-It Ralph, the second one.
Okay.
And Lois was absolutely like, she's seen this bit in the trailer and she was like, "That bit is so hilarious. I just want to see that bit." And we watched the entire movie and it wasn't in it. And we sat through the whole end credits, and at the very end of the end credits, there was that little clip.
No.
Yeah. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? They put that in the trailer."
They put an end credits clip in the trailer.
And it was like one of the only funny bits in the movie.
Jesus Christ.
And she was only little, and she'd literally like watched the entire movie waiting for this bit, disappointed at the end, thinking that wasn't in there. Why wasn't it in there? And then we had to sit through the end of all the credits while everyone was walking out just to get that clip.
I'm just going to put that out there. I wasn't a big fan of Wreck-It Ralph 1.
No.
I wasn't a big fan of it.
No.
It didn't grab me. I like John C. Reilly.
No,
I like
and the
Sarah
second
Silverman
one-
to a degree as well.
The second one wasn't great either.
Yeah. And I like the guy that plays, not Wreck-It Ralph, obviously, but who's the guy that's the Fix-It guy?
Oh, I don't know.
I like him. I've seen him in a lot. He was in 30 Rock. He was in The Middle.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in Saturday Night Live or whatever, but he's a very funny guy as well. But yeah. Anyway. This is not Beneath Loch Ness. That was Wreck-It Ralph.
It was relevant.
But yeah, it was a relevant point. It was a very relevant point.
Kind
One thing I hate as well about trailers at the moment
Yes.
is you see the whole movie in the trailer.
Yeah, you see everything that's going
And
on.
it's like,
you see the whole plot.
What's the point? What's the
Yeah.
point? I know. What is the point of going and seeing the film sometimes? So I stay at home watching bad movies instead.
Yeah, true.
It's much cheaper. So anyway, right, so Lizzie contacts Case, tells him that his friend Gus has died. Case is off at some dig in, I don't know.
Oh yeah, where is he?
He's off in some dig in a desert.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Sahara Desert or somewhere like that.
Exactly, but yeah, he's off in the desert.
But he's like, nah, I'm doing this. I'm doing this dig. I'm not going to bother. But then she's like, Gus died, and he's like, and then he doesn't say anything. You just hear the sound of a chopper, and then he's in Scotland.
Yeah.
So yeah, she obviously tells them they'll fund him looking into it all. All right. But later in the movie, we find out that they used to be a couple. There used to be a thing between them.
It's her ex-husband, isn't it?
Is it ex-husband?
Are they married?
Were they married and divorced? Quite possibly. I might have missed that in the 3 times I've watched this film, but they might well have been.
Because I've got down a good scene, and they're arguing in that, and she's giving him a hard time about them being married previously.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did miss that then. I might have been like head down writing notes at that point. That might be what's happened. So yeah, there we go. Cole Case arrives in Scotland and he meets the team that night at a bar. But while he's at that bar, there are some Loch Ness enthusiasts who meet up with them and tell them that they run their own website. And he's really dismissive of them, isn't he? Because he's a serious like archaeologist or marine archaeologist, and they're just amateurs, and they get in his way kind of thing. So he's very dismissive of them, and so he meets them. The next day, like they all go out in the water, so everybody's out in the water. We've got our team. Case Lizzie's not there yet. But he's met the other team, the survivors of the attack, and there's 3 of them: Julie, John, and Jeff, whatever they are. I mean, it's completely inconsequential who they are. But so he meets all of them, and they go out in the water that day. But at the same time, we've also got. So this is everybody that's out in the water for this next part of the movie. So we've got a glass-bottom boat out there for tourists. We've got our enthusiasts out there who are trying to put their own fake Nessie in the water. And obviously we've got our team out there going down. As a way, really what they're trying to do is investigate, but also kind of find Gus's body, because his body's not been found. So the enthusiasts that have put their fake Nessie in the water, their Nessie is destroyed. But one of their team doesn't resurface either. We see in the glass bottom boat this massive thing going underneath the glass bottom boat, and the tourists are freaked out by it as well. And we find out that we find out later that the person from the team with the enthusiast was like, he was taken to the hospital because it looks like he's been dragged by a ferry and he's got injuries and that sort of thing. That way, that we know what it really was that did it though. But that's what they assume it was. And there's a really funny little bit. Well, I say a really funny little bit, but there's a funny bit where one of the enthusiasts is like, "Oh, guys, you did a really great job there. I don't know what you did, but you really had everyone thinking it was the real Nessie." And they're like, "What are you talking about? All we're seeing is a wreck of our Nessie." And he's like, "Well, what did they see then?" It's like, oh. It's really, whoa, what did they see? And it's just a really stupid, bad little bit. So at that point as well, Julie from the proper dive is also missing after a swim by from Nessie. As I say, the glass bottom boat people are seeing Nessie go under the boat, but Julie arrives safe. And everyone is kind of definite from their readings that there's something big down there. All right, Julie does get back on the boat. Now, later that night, our team's still out on the water, and they get visited, shall we say, by some restless natives. And I've put the words restless natives very specifically because there's an old Scottish movie called Restless Natives, which is amazing. It's brilliant. It's about two down on the luck Scotsmen who decide to hold coaches of American tourists to hostage, and they steal money, and it's like a Robin Hood story. They steal money from these rich tourists, and they give it out to people on the streets, kind of thing, and they become like local heroes. But obviously, the police have to chase them down. But it's a great kind of like Robin Hood movie, brilliant. But so I put that. When I was typing it down, I put Restless Natives, and it made me. It's like, that film, so I kept it in. So they've got these Restless Natives, and they're fishermen for absolutely no reason at all. They are giving our team these weird kind of threats. These like, you'll be wanting to watch yourselves on the water.
And that is their accent, by the way.
It's so dreadful.
It's so bad.
Yep. Also, they're drunk.
No,
brilliant. Thanks for the Scottish stereotype, you bastard Yanks. Honestly. Like, fuck you. Bastard. Yes, I know we have a drink problem in Scotland, but the government's done a lot to combat it. You can't buy, like, special deals on alcohol. There's no, like, buy one, get one free or anything. It doesn't exist. You can't do it.
Trainspotting didn't do a lot for the drug scene either, did they?
No, it didn't do a lot for the drug scene. I'll tell you what it did do. It made drugs look amazing. But drugs are bad, okay?
Don't take drugs, kids, okay?
No, I mean that. They are bad.
Yes.
I mean, I bumped into someone at the gym the other day, right? That I know, and we were just chatting, and he told me that he hardly drinks anymore. I was like, oh yeah, I hardly drink either. Like, I'll have the occasional, but for the last year and a half, I probably could count on all my fingers and toes the amount of times I've gone out and had a drink or had a drink at home in all that time. Yeah, and that wasn't like me, you know. Yeah, and I don't think I ever had a problem. I'm not saying that. No, but I enjoyed a drink, and I would have a drink. But
do you think that's just getting older, though?
I think it is a bit getting older and being like, you know what I really fancy? A nice glass of water. Yeah, that will do me on my night out. Yeah, a nice cup of tea. I'll tell you what, it's my round. I'll have a water.
Yeah. Water, everyone.
Your round. I'll have a double gin and tonic.
Tap water, everyone. But no, I think it is a getting older thing because I mean, I'll still drink socially, but I just can't handle it now.
No, I can't.
Especially wine.
But they were like, yeah, I hardly drink. I still do edibles every day. Oh, right, okay. That's just just throw that into the sentence.
You are the picture of health.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we're at the gym, so, you know, at least maybe you're not on edibles at the moment, but just like, what the hell? Anyway, thanks a lot, movie, for the Scottish stereotype. Also, I would like to point out that it's Loch Ness. There are no commercial fishers on Loch Ness. Okay. Right? There aren't. There are, like, there's a salmon fisheries, but they are, like, maintained and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And that's a salmon fishery. That's, you know, they're just a salmon fishery in the water. They're not fishing out of the water. Okay? And there might be some, but there are no fishing boats putting around for any commercial catching or anything like that. Yeah. Other than sustainable hobby fishing. So that's one thing the movie gets very, very fucking wrong about Loch Ness. Yeah. Right. So not only are our fishermen drunkards and threatening people unnecessarily so, they're also flouting our conservation laws. Yeah. So no thank you, movie. Anyway, so our team kind of just dismissed them off as drunk locals. Now, later in the bar, they meet some gossipy women who talk utter bullshit in terrible Scottish accents. But what this does serve is to have us learn about one of the hoaxers / enthusiasts that got injured, and it says that they were dragged by the ferry and all that sort of thing, which gives our guys a kind of a bit of maybe we should go and have a little talk to these enthusiasts and see what really went on here. Yeah. So Case goes to visit them in the hospital. They're immediately hostile. I mean, they probably wouldn't have been if he hadn't been a dick to them. But now something's happened to them, and he's like, "Oh, hey, maybe you've got some information that would help us." Why would they be helpful to him? So this is just like a little word of warning to everyone. If you meet someone that's into the thing that you're into, even though you're the expert and they're enthusiasts, just be nice. Yeah. Just be nice. It's not hard. You know, we're not asking you to be friends with them. Just be like, I love that you love what I do. Yeah. Here's some tips if you want to get into it. You know what I mean? Anyway, they do. They kind of like act like it's his fault that this happened, but they kind of cool down a bit and they hand over their footage, but they also imply that there's something big down there. Okay, and it's at this point that Case and Julie go to see the local Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard again instantly hostile at them, because he believes that they are meddling to find a body that they've deemed unable to be retrieved, so don't risk yourselves going for it. Yeah, that I can understand, but again, it's just the instant hostility, overly hostile. You know, just be firm and tell them politely. That would probably do. And the Coast Guard is definitely not Scottish. Oh, definitely not.
The police officer you're talking about? Or
well,
the Coast Guard?
I thought he was a police officer. He calls himself a constable, but he's a constable in the Coast Guard. I don't think our Coast Guard has a constable. Uniform. Yeah, well, or maybe he's a constable. See, that's the thing I don't get. Yeah. He's in the Coast Guard building, and they refer to them as going to see the Coast Guard, and he calls himself a constable. But yes, he does have police on it.
Unless that's the only uniform they could get hold of in the costume department.
And maybe they were just like... It
definitely says police on it, because I remember thinking the same thing. What is his job? Is he just like Coast Guard, security, police, what? but it definitely said police on his uniform.
Yeah, and
they're
he's
calling him
definitely
constable.
and he's definitely in the Coast Guard building. Maybe they're just
And
like.
when I looked up the cast list, it said it just said constable. That was all.
Yeah.
It didn't say constable, whatever. It just said
But
constable.
but for some reason they've made it like he's a constable in the Coast Guard, but also maybe they've just thought, people won't question. We'll just be like he's police/Coast Guard on Loch Ness.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a Coast Guard on Loch Ness.
I have no
I
idea.
honestly don't know. I don't know enough. But yeah, he's definitely not Scottish though.
No.
He could be a Coast Guard, he could be police, but what he's not is Scottish.
Definitely not.
Now we do also cut to our old fisherman, the fisherman that just who one of them is Scottish.
Yeah.
But the two other fishermen with him are definitely not Scottish. But they're just out in the water. We cut to them. They're just out in the water, and they're doing something called boom fishing. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, they are just dropping casually explosives into the water to catch fish. Just very secretly blowing things up on Loch Ness in Scotland.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night where there's no sound and people will be hearing explosions going off for miles and miles around.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
in Scotland. That just happens. People
Yeah.
have access to dynamite in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And it's fine for them just to throw it in Loch Ness.
Yeah. You know, just
Yeah.
let's just casually have explosives lying around. People in the UK do not just have explosives and access to explosives unless you are in the
No.
demolition business or the army.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't happening. It's just... Anyway, Nessie attacks them. At the same time, we've got our scientist team. They're monitoring the water and they hear all this going on. Now, they contact LA to give an update to the TV studio, but they find out that Lizzie is already on her way. I put in my note after that. I mean, literally, she's already on her way. The next scene, Lizzie's arriving in a Renault Scenic. and she's like, you kept me waiting for an hour and a half at the airport. So they're already starting the banter with her and Case. You know, the flirty, angry banter, which you know is going to end up being like, by the end of the movie, they're back together.
Yeah,
It's just a standard
Yeah.
thing. That's what happens whenever you get divorced from someone. You always end up back with them. Oh God! Oh no! Please don't let it be true. But Lizzie's like, so Lizzie's saying like she really needs the show to go well, just in case they get scooped by another network.
Yeah.
Right, Emma. Did you see any other scientists? Any other TV shows
Not a
at the
single one.
Loch?
No.
Not a single one. Who the fuck's gonna scoop you? There's no one there.
Exactly.
Like, anyway, I mean, I'm putting my notes. Literally, no one else cares about this Gus fella.
No one gives a shit.
No one cares. So anyway, they show Lizzie all the footage of what they've got, where they're like, there's something big, right? And she's really unimpressed. They also hand over that they show this like footage of a fossilized egg, and she even just dismisses that like it's just a rock.
Yeah.
You know, like we need something more concrete. She talks about this is when we start to hear Lizzie talking about Gus's research, and we realise that what they were looking into originally was the Loch was an ancient breeding ground, but breeding what? And she wants to focus on that to power the show. So again, I don't know why she dismissed the rock, which was a fossilized egg, but because like, well, go down, get that fossilized egg and bring it up, because I'm pretty sure that you could tell the difference between a rock and a fossilized egg.
Yeah, I thought that because they're having a disagreement, aren't they, about whether it's a rock or an egg, and it's like surely you could like crack it open and see. Not, you know, I don't mean crack it open like you crack an egg, but like you could drill into it, or you could find out.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a way to tell the difference.
There'd be a difference.
Yeah,
yeah,
there has to be, because a fossil is just a calcified a bone. It's no longer bone. It's calcification of minerals that then form the shape of the bone that was in the rock, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd be able to tell.
I mean, I know there's probably a much better scientific terminology for it than that, but that's my understanding of a layman's terms. So yeah. So they believe it was an ancient breeding ground. So Case is not happy about this because he's thinking it's an abuse of Gus's legacy to push a TV show kind of glamorizing this, when in fact I kind of think myself, well, would this not be putting Gus's theories out into the world and would be a good legacy for him?
Yeah.
Like, if they can prove this, he's not died in vain. Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was in two minds about that one. I'm not sure. But Lizzie just wants a successful TV show, because, as she tells Case, a successful TV show will keep the money coming in and will keep you funded doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that as well. So many angles going on in this movie. Sorry.
It really is boring, this movie.
However, this does set up a classic heated argument.
Yes.
So she busts out the room, goes outside. Case follows her. They have a little back and forth. She gives him a slap. And what happens when someone slaps you, Emma?
Slap him back.
You would think that, but no. Case grabs her and kisses her, and she melts in his arms.
Yeah, I've got this as a scene.
Right, so we'll leave that there. But yeah, that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know. Oh,
doesn't matter who you're arguing with either.
Officer, why you put me in handcuffs? She slapped me. I kissed her. Anyway, we'll talk. I know we'll talk about that.
Who you're arguing with, if that's your boss, if that's a friend, that's how you handle that situation. You have a massive argument. One of you's shouting and screaming at the other, and then the other one just kisses you.
Yeah,
and it stops the argument.
Yeah.
To be fair, it would stop the argument in those situations, because if it was your friend or your boss or somebody, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Argument finished.
Yeah. Now it's something completely different.
We've got something else to discuss now.
Yeah. HR. So yeah, they then go to the Coast Guard / constable. But when they go to visit the Coast Guard here, he's in the business of kicking a fella out. But he also tells Lizzie and Case, he's like, look, it's not Nessie. We've already found the fake from the other group. And there's no way, in his best Jaws mayor fashion, we are not closing down the lock because it's at the height of the tourist season.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the fella that's being kicked out says, I can help ye.
And he says it exactly like that as well.
However, they completely disregard him because he's an old mad guy. He's not old,
but he's mad.
But yeah, they kind of treat him like an old mad guy. However, the very next scene, they are pulling up to his caravan. It's like they say, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's mad."
Yeah.
And then straight away they're like, "This is the guy we need."
Yeah. It's like, what?
What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So this is Patrick Bergin, the discount Robin Hood. So Hollywood did this a lot, right? When you had like a movie coming out, another studio would make another movie very much like it.
Yeah.
So when you had Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves come out, just before it was released was another Robin Hood movie starring a fella called Patrick Bergin.
Okay.
And obviously Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was the one that was massive. And this other Robin Hood wasn't. And I always thought, I wonder if it's as good as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It's just this one did better.
Yeah.
No, it's shite.
Oh, okay.
It's dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. But this was the guy, Patrick Bergin, who played the Robin Hood in the Robin Hood, not Prince of Thieves movie. Okay. So this is why I call him Discount Robin Hood. Now, he's Captain Blay in this film, okay? And he says to them that he confirms the monster and he's seen it up close and personal. We get a flashback to him and his son fishing, yet again with more dynamite, okay?
Yeah. But
in this, because they're fishing with dynamite, it sets off, Nessie gets annoyed. His son dies, okay? And he tells them that people always thought that he was drunk and it was his fault. But he knows different because he wasn't drunk. He doesn't drink. And he knows it wasn't his fault. He knows something different, but he's lost everything. So he's completely out for revenge on Nessie.
Yeah.
And he's been building his plans to get revenge. However, during this discussion, they're disturbed by explosions from other local fishermen, not the ones that we've met before, because they've been attacked and they're missing and lost from the Nessie attack.
Yeah.
But we also find out that these explosions are damaging the team's sensors. Now, the Coast Guard arrives, okay, and is really up in Case and Lizzie's face, and Blaze there as well. But he's ignoring the boom fishing going on. He's ignoring people dropping dynamite into the loch. Like, and they point that out to him. Are you not going to do anything about that?
Yeah.
He just ignores them. And he starts again with the intimidation techniques on them, asking them about the missing fishermen. Like, why would a team of fucking scientists do anything about the missing fishermen? Why? Where is this investigation coming from?
You're looking at me like I have the answers, and I don't.
Oh, God. Someone must. But, so they decide to go back out in the water that same night, but one of the usual divers just refuses to go in, and he's replaced by a guy who's usually on the boat, manning the instruments. And that instantly made me think, oh, that guy's for it. Even though I've seen this film before, I thought, look, if you're taking someone out of the situation that normally does it and you're putting someone fresh in, there's going to be a death there, and that'll bring in some sort of dynamic about the other person feeling guilty that they went in, and maybe give them some sort of revenge on Nessie as well, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That
That doesn't happen. Everyone's fine. Yeah. So what could have been a really interesting thing doesn't happen. But while they're down there, after 15 years, they miraculously find Captain Blaze's boat.
15 years?
Yeah. They find the boat under the water. They're like, oh wow, that's the boat that Captain Blaze was on.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. I mean, I know there are coincidences
Nessie's had it
in
under
films.
there. Nessie's had it under there, holding it to ransom.
Just a really big air bubble under there. Blaze's son is alive, just gasping onto the last bit of ocean. No, he's not. He's brown bread. So yeah, I know. So what it basically boils into is they've recognised that underwater there is something they call a flute, right?
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do, this is an underground passage from the sea into Loch Ness, and they believe that Nessie, much like salmon, comes into or is in the river or gets into the river or the lake, etc. They come out of the sea, go into the rivers to their breeding grounds, and that's what this Nessie is doing. It's coming through this flute into Loch Ness. So they want to block this passage so they can trap Nessie inside. But so they're looking at in a plan in that. Anyway, we go to the next morning. This movie jumps a lot, by the way. So we go to the next morning, and now all of a sudden the Coast Guard has given a press conference, right?
Yeah.
And in this press conference, he confirms to people that they have a creature, and he shows these people the creature. And there is a creature, clearly like Nessie, but nowhere near as big as we've actually seen this Nessie to be. Although we don't see Nessie a lot because it's very dark and you don't really see much of Nessie at all.
We don't. We really don't.
Do you think they would do that? They find an ancient sea creature in Loch Ness. Do you think the Coast Guard would instantly go, "Oh, hey everyone, there it is"?
No, not at all.
Ain't happening, is it?
No.
God almighty, so odd. And they've got the best people coming from Glasgow to have a look at it. I've been to Glasgow. The best people from Glasgow? Come on. I say I've been to Glasgow. I'm from Glasgow. It's like, oh, aye, your pal John for the uni. He's going up to see it. What does he study? Marine biology? No,
Yeah.
no. He's a janitor. He's just going to go have a look. He's our best people. It's like, what the fuck? But they are looking at this and they're saying it's too small. The Coast Guard then goes, "Hey, look, you have a day to leave under my authority and the Scottish Parliament." That's literally the line. They say to him, "Under whose authority are you telling us to leave the lake?" "Mine and the Scottish Parliament." Why the fuck would Holyrood be anywhere interested in a research team in Loch Ness enough to get rid of them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's writing that line? Sorry, I know I'm good talking. That's a bad line.
Yeah.
But I've just put it in my anyway, just really, really odd. Anyway, they decide, you know what they're going to do? They're going to break in. So later they just break into this facility to have a look at Nessie, and they realise, one of them said, like, they're not sure what the creature is, but they believe it's from the Cretaceous period. However, they lift a bit of covering away from it, and they see this massive kind of like bite wound in this monster. So there's something bigger
than it
that's killed it. Okay.
And they sort of already know that it's too small to be Nessie anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
But when they realise there's a bite mark, they're like, well, there's something bigger in there that's bitten this creature. So,
but now obviously,
do they ever actually get to the bottom of what that creature is?
No, we never really find out exactly what it is.
No.
But yeah, it's just some sort of Cretaceous period sea monster. So whatever they believe Nessie to be, was it plesiosaur? I can't remember whatever sea creature it is, but yeah. They just assume they assume it's a smaller version of that, and Nessie took it out as it was encroaching on its ground.
Yeah.
So they're kind of saying that Nessie is the apex predator of the area. So now, because like Nessie's dead, everyone's out on the loch having a party, which I think actually would be a bit more of a somber affair. Because also, if there's so much tourism around Loch Ness that you're saying we're not shutting the loch down, why like you find a dead sea creature, you wouldn't advertise that fact, because then all of a sudden, oh, Nessie's dead, what's the point in going back?
Yeah.
You know, anyway, I just don't get that. But everyone is now having a big party on the loch, and there's loads of people in the wet water. They're setting off fireworks, etc., etc. That's obviously going to piss Nessie off. Nessie's on the prowl. The team are all in the water trying to get people out, but it's too late. Nessie attacks. Okay. And they get cross at the Coast Guard for not locking down the loch, and he gets locked up. So, sorry, there's so many locks there. So yeah, Case gets really cross at the Coast Guard for not locking down the loch, and then the Coast Guard locks him up. So yeah, that's what happens. So we find out that the in this point as well, they're going to be dropping depth charges into the water.
Yeah.
But if they believe this Nessie's dead, why are they dropping depth charges? Ugh. So yeah, they're dropping depth. So the Coast Guard is going to be dropping depth charges into the water again. I'm guessing they've got the army in to do this. I'm guessing.
We don't know, do we?
But I mean, does the Coast Guard have depth charges that they can just drop off?
I wouldn't have thought
but
so.
What also really made me laugh, this little boat that's dropping off the depth charges, it's got like a little catapult thing that's throwing these depth charges off.
Yeah. And
it's thrown off loads of them. You keep hearing these explosions of these depth charges for the rest of the film now.
Yeah.
But this is a tiny boat.
I
and
know.
These are big barrels of depth charges that they're dropping off.
It would sink.
Where are you getting these?
Yeah.
Do you ever see those mobile games where you go around and you collect wood, and on your back you've got this massive, massive pile of wood on your back? It's like, the little boat would have been like that.
Yeah.
And just, like, what the hell? What the hell? It's just so odd.
It's like this sort of stuff only happens in cartoons.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep getting these heavy objects out.
So, but Blaze says he's going to end it by tracking, trapping, and killing Nessie. Blaze turns up to our team's sort of headquarters with Braveheart face paint on.
Yeah, this bit was bad, wasn't
like,
it?
honestly, fuck you, movie.
He actually calls him Braveheart as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But like, honestly,
I know.
What the hell? So, very angry, very angry. But he tells the team he wants the scuba suit, but they're reluctant to hand it out. But this is happening while Case is in lockup. Lizzie goes and gets him out in the morning, right? Case gets back with Lizzie, finds out that Blaze is in the water, and they all decide to go down and find him. But they are warned by the team that gave him the suit that he's got a lot of ordnance on him as well to try and take out Nessie. And this is where we find out as well that Case hasn't been in the water for at least 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So again, we're seeing the Coast Guard dropping depth charges. Things are getting tense. Nessie's being hounded by the explosives. Lizzie orders Judy to record all the footage, and Case is refusing to leave without bringing Blay back. So things are getting like, very scary. Is everyone going to be okay? But the depth charges are getting closer and closer, and the Coast Guard / Army are not responding to the research team's request to stop because they've got divers in the water, which again is something that they'd be like, yeah, absolutely stop. Tell your people to get up out of the water or we're going to arrest you, and etc., etc., because this is what we're doing. Again. Anyway. Very, very annoying. So Nessie's coming in hot for a swim by, okay, but we've got Case and Blay. They're heading down into this cavern, and Blai's kind of put up a net with a load of explosives on it, and Nessie triggers the net, but the explosives don't go off.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I bought those in England." For fuck's sake. But we do find out that he's got this sort of kind of C4 mine as like a last resort. Another explosion goes off as Nessie comes blasting into them, and the team up top loses contact with everyone. Now, Case and Blay are trapped in this cave, this kind of flute thing that goes... No, it's not a cave, it's like an underwater cave. Like, this is the flute going from the lake to the sea. They're trapped there, but they theorize that if they go the opposite way, then they'll exit out in the ocean. But this is where they spot a lot of eggs, and they're like, "What's that?" And it's like, "That's Ro. That's Nessie's eggs."
Yeah.
And Blaze, like, he's gonna end all the eggs in repayment for his child. So he starts smashing up all the eggs, and he's like, "You killed my child. I'm gonna kill yours." He starts going a bit mad. Obviously, the same thing that happens in any movie. Once the child of any monster is being attacked, the monster is instantly aware and comes in for the attack. So he's facing off against Nessie. He drops his mine, ending them all. The eggs, Nessie, Blay, and maybe even Case as well. The team are obviously really sad because they're playing some sort of Scottish lament. And then we cut to a scene of a biker, clearly an American biker, on a coastal road in America, who sees a man emerging from the ocean. And then we've got our team on the edge of the loch, staring out into the sea wistfully. And then Cole surprises everyone by sneaking up on them. He confirms Blaze's death and hands over a giant egg. And is like, "What do you make of that?" End the movie. There you go.
So boring.
It was really boring.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot happens because there's a lot of stupid stuff, but it's also really boring.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. All the sort of footage of Nessie is so dark you don't really see much.
This was my main thing. So when they're under the water, obviously underwater is dark, but
yeah,
there's a way to shoot a movie where if they're in a dark place, you can still see stuff.
Yeah,
A bit of lighting would have been good. Yeah, it was just, that's the thing. It's an old movie.
Mm-hmm.
We watched it on YouTube.
Yeah,
so the quality wasn't great.
That's true.
Yeah, when they're underwater, it's just, you can't see anything. So I didn't know what was going on half the time. I was just like, this is way too dark. I can't see what's going on.
It's 24 years old, the film. That's still
so the quality's not great,
it's not. No, it's not great. It would have looked terrible. It would have been terrible quality even on DVD back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think YouTube would have been any worse.
No.
You know, you can rent. You know, you rent it on YouTube, but the quality is what we saw, and it's You know, it was just crappy, grainy, dark, not good at all. Not good at all. Very painful. Just painful. Just painful. I can't say any more than that. Is this a film I want to have watched 3 times in my life?
No.
Oh, absolutely not. Is this a film I felt like I had to watch 3 times in my life? Yes, because twice for a podcast, once to rip it apart with you. Well, twice to rip it apart with you, really, I suppose.
Yeah, I've watched it twice now, and I
yeah.
regret both times.
It wasn't like Double Down getting any better on future viewings, was it?
No.
Definitely wasn't.
It wasn't.
Definitely
I'd forgotten how boring it was, actually.
Yeah.
So now we've got to try and find good things about this movie.
I'm not going to lie. I've got one good thing to say about this film.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
I've got a couple of good lines.
Okay.
And then I've got a good scene.
Right.
And that's it.
Okay.
That is it, I think.
Ooh. Well, let's have a little... Do we want to do my one good thing first? Or do you want to...
go for it.
So... I actually quite liked the model of the sea creature, the dead one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I like it. So had
prop? Is that prop? Or
yeah, I would say
prop,
maybe special effects.
Yeah,
SFX prop kind of thing going on. You got a creature there. It wasn't obviously moving; it was already dead. But it looked sufficiently like it didn't. I mean, obviously it was kind of rubbery and all that sort of thing, but it had a look of a creature that had lived in the water.
Yeah.
As well, it had that kind of slick look and gooey, not gooey, but
I know
like
what you mean,
squidgy sea animal kind of.
Yeah, I know
feel.
what you mean. I don't know what the right word for it is though.
Yeah. I'm not going to think of it,
No.
but yeah, it had that kind of. Oh, you could imagine touching that and like maybe feeling like you were feeling like a whale skin or something.
It just looks like my son used to be really into dinosaurs when he was younger.
Yeah.
Is it a plesiosaurus? Is
Is
that the one?
Plesiosaur,
The one that
plesiosaur.
lives in the water.
Yeah, I know.
It just reminded me of all of his old like toys and books that he had of dinosaurs, and yeah, it did. To be fair, it didn't look bad, did it?
So, mosasaur is Nessie is a member of a species of mosasaur that survived in Loch Ness and only surfaces after 20 years. So this is from a particular movie, actually. I'm sorry, I clicked on a link there. I was like, what? Yeah, and I've no idea what type of dinosaur everybody thinks it is, but I think plesiosaur, it's something like that, isn't it? You know, so yeah, I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, 100% certain. Not 100% certain at all on that one. It looked good, and then when they pulled it back, and it had like the big sort of bite chunk out of it as well.
Yeah.
Again, it was sufficiently kind of gory looking that you could think that looked like an animal attack.
Yeah.
So it's like that was the best thing about the whole film for me, was just like, oh, that was interesting, but you saw it for so little.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
you know,
quite a quick scene.
Yeah, it really was. It was just very quick, and
which is silly because you think if they'd created that prop, they would use it a bit more, but
yeah,
seems silly just to have it for
I mean, that's the thing as well. They've got like the face of this thing. I'm sure from different angles or whatever, they could have filmed that in water to make it look like Nessie as well.
Yeah, they could have done, couldn't they?
You know, filmed it from different angles. You wouldn't necessarily thought it was still the smaller version because your mind uses that. Oh, this is a big monster. You know, forced perspective or whatever to help. You know, like us thinking that little anglerfish was massive.
Yep.
You know, because you don't have the context of anything around it.
Because I think we literally see the neck, don't we? Just the neck of
the
Nessie.
neck and the head. You see the mouth. Yeah, you don't really see in the water the neck of Nessie. Yeah, and maybe a fin, but it's very dark. It was very dark to see.
Yeah. It's
getting
too
dark to see. Yeah, and I hate that there's only one good thing I can think of. I can't even say like the scenery was great, like the location was great. No. Yeah, it's just that it's a nice lake, but it wasn't Loch Ness.
And also because the quality was bad, it didn't look great anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of good lines.
Okay, go on.
Again, I haven't written down who said this one, annoyingly.
All right, I might be able to tell you.
So it's when they go out on the boat for the first time and they dive down to find Nessie.
Yep.
I'm not sure who it is in the boat.
At the opening of the movie
the
or
beginning, the beginning of the movie. And someone says, not a word to anyone, not until we know this thing is real. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who it is, but one of the others goes, I've got some crap in my shorts, will that do ya?
So I think
that's when they've been down and they've seen something, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've come back up. Yeah.
I think that's Jake.
Oh, okay.
I think that's Jake. That's our guy who is freaked out in the water because he knows there's this big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought that was quite funny. And then I also liked it when... this made me laugh. You'll see why in a minute. But so the constable, whatever he is, whether he's a coast guard or a police officer or what, he was trying to. They were trying to tell him they think they found Nessie, and he's poo-pooing it, and he's like, not listening to anything. It's a myth. You haven't found Nessie. It's not real. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to say to him, it's not real, and they're going, no, it is real. There's definitely something in Loch Ness. Blah blah blah. And he says, what's confusing you here? My accent? Because I can write it down. And it just made me laugh because I was like, yes, your accent is confusing because your accent is not Scottish. It's all over the place. It's Irish, it's Scottish, it's English, it's American. What is this accent that you're doing?
Do you know what? I noted that down, but not as a good line. I noted that down just because I was talking about the bad accent. And then actually, it's like they were pointing that out.
Yeah, it's almost like they're going,
yeah.
You know his accent's shit. it was really bad.
It was so bad.
I mean, the accents, they really are a mix of
Oh,
everywhere, aren't
yeah,
they?
it's all
They're
over the
not-
place. All over the place. Yeah. But that's such a good point. Yes, technically that is a good line. I think I think it is just because the accents are so terrible. Yeah. But I think I was so focused on the bad accent, I didn't consider that line being good. I just considered the pointing out that they know the accent is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, what else we got?
I've got a good scene. Well, I thought this is a good scene. You probably won't agree.
Oh dear.
But it's when Elizabeth and Case are arguing, and she's giving him a hard time about when they used to be married and how she's built this career, and she's bloody good at it. Like, she's got this job and she's bloody good at it. And so she's like, they're really arguing, and she's really kind of going, do you know what? I've done so well for myself since you, and I'm this amazing independent woman. And then he just grabs her and kisses her, and it's like, oh, all of that stuff you just spouted off, you've now just like melted into his arms and crumbled and been like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll get back together. And it's like, I don't know how long they've been separated, but it was that cliched movie thing of like, oh, I hate your guts, and then they just kiss, and then it's like, oh no, I'm back in love with you. And so he just like kisses her, and then she's like, oh. She actually makes a little noise like, oh.
Yes.
And then in the next scene they're arguing again.
And this is never get back to your exes, kids.
Yes. There's a reason you broke up.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
So yeah, it just made me laugh because it was just the way she was. It was the way she was spouting off like this independent woman. I've done so well for myself since you. I've cut you out of my life, and now I'm doing so well. And then all he has to do is kiss her.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, okay.
and I remember because when she does do that kind of, as you say, she makes that little, nice. But then when she pulls away, she does this kind of like, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And she walks away. And
like,
and actually, and I think maybe a little bit of retrospect, I think I could say probably best actress in the film as well. Yeah. Played by Lizette Anthony, who is like, if anyone remembers, do you remember the old movie Krull?
No.
So like you've got like a Cyclops character, you've got a guy with a throwing blade kind of thing.
No, I don't remember.
Really
that.
classic old
Maybe
80s, maybe 70s movie.
Yeah.
But definitely early 80s or very, very late 70s. Actually, probably more early 80s because it wouldn't have happened if like Star Wars didn't exist, I don't think. So it was one of those kinds of films. But yeah, I mean, I remember her from that film in my youth itself, you know. And yeah, I think probably the better actress in the movie out of anything and anyone, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'll give them that. Good actress.
Yeah.
In Lizette Anthony. She did a good job as Lizzie Borden, you know, putting up with her ex kissing her in the middle of an argument.
Yeah. And
also television execs having showers in front of her, you know. So
so weird, that scene.
Yeah, she's put up with a lot. And she handled it very well.
Yeah.
Have you got more good lines?
No, I haven't got anything else.
Okay.
Good.
Oh no, sorry, that was a good scene as well. Wasn't it as well? So what about any other good scenes?
There was no other good scenes.
Okay.
I've literally got nothing else good.
Wow.
Do you want to move on to how you'd improve it?
How long have we got?
In every way.
First of all, right, I have really thought about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Improving this movie on location in Scotland.
Yeah.
On location in Scotland.
Yeah. Actually film it where it's set.
Film it where it's set. Because Loch Ness is beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous countryside. And you'll also get Scottish actors.
Yes.
Right?
We had to put all these
famously,
accents.
Scotland's for the Scottish people.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
crazy, right?
Crazy, right?
If you want Scottish people, go to Scotland, kids.
You know, and look, I get it. Going on location and taking people over is expensive, but you probably could have hired people in Scotland to film.
Exactly. You could have.
There've been local.
You could have gone over, like the film crew could have gone over and just, like you say, hired actors there.
Yep. You know, it's.
Then you're not flying a load of actors over, are you? So
and when you're producing a movie, I'm pretty sure as well you could source cameramen and sound and lighting
probably.
from the country that you're going to. There will
would imagine
be
there will be people that
processes
do that.
to do that if you're making films.
We do make movies in the UK.
Yeah.
Like there will be production companies.
And back in the early 2000s, there were, if I remember right, I don't think it's the same anymore, but there were incentives, like tax incentives for filming.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think that all changed under the Conservative government, funnily enough. Another thing the damn Tories took away from us.
Yeah.
But during the Blair years, there was definitely, I'm sure, incentives. And maybe that had been even before then. But anyway, that's getting into more than we think. But 100%, I think you could improve this movie by filming it on location.
Yep.
Just purely because if you are bored with the movie, you could still be enthralled with your surroundings. You know?
Yeah.
Would have been so much better. Would have been so much better instantly because of that. And also because you'd get people with the right accents.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't matter, even if you sat there enjoying the movie and like the plot of the movie, you can never get into the film because the accents are so bad. You're just instantly pulled out of it, and you can't help but mock it.
I wasn't listening to the dialogue a lot of the time because I was just thinking, what are these accents? So I wasn't actually listening to what they were saying. I was just focusing on how bad the accents were.
Yeah. I mean, there's one bit that I'm definitely going to talk about in the flip side, but there's one bit where, like, a woman says, "Fairy martyr," like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait, is that a fairy mortar? What?
I have no idea what they were saying.
Are you talking about, is this some sort of, like, because there's, like, you've got, like, tales of, like, Scottish fae and all that kind of thing, and what's the word I'm looking for, like folk stories, that sort of thing, or fairies and that sort of thing. Is like, are you saying this is some sort of, like, fae thing, like this is a monster of old fairy or something? No, ferry motor. Ferry as in a ship, ferry ship as in ferrying people around, right? A ferry motor. No, but the way they said it was like ferry martyr.
It was like it went into sort of Irish. It was a bit Scottish, and then it kind of went a bit Irish. There was lots of American poking through,
but in the same syllable.
Yeah, in the same word, it would go from one to another.
It is the same. It's the same Scottish accent that everybody does that can't do a Scottish accent.
It was like, how many accents can you fit into a sentence? Sometimes,
yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was.
Sometimes it went a bit Cockney.
And, yeah.
It was just like, what are you doing?
Honestly, and it doesn't. As I said, it doesn't matter how much you're enjoying the film or the story. You're just instantly pulled out.
Obviously, you haven't got the budget in something like this, but in a big budget movie, you would have dialect like coaches.
Yeah,
you would. They would train on an accent, wouldn't they? For a main cast, yes, but your incidental actors like that, you'd but then
have a better casting process.
Yeah, you cast someone who can do the accent or is from there.
Yeah,
that would be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually Scottish.
Yeah, you'd have more resources to be able to get that with more money. But or just So that's it. Film it in Scotland. You get the scenery. You get the accent. Would instantly lift this film quite a bit. I think quite a bit.
Yeah.
What would you change? How would you make it better? What would?
Well, we don't even really see Nessie.
Mm.
We see a neck a couple of times come out of the water, but I mean, show the actual creature the whole movie's about.
Yeah.
For a start, and actually do something with it. Like, we didn't see any deaths really. We didn't see the creature. In a monster movie, I want to see the monster. Sorry, but that's kind of a main thing, isn't it? We saw a creature that was not Nessie.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't actually see Nessie.
Yeah.
So that to me was like the massive flaw in this, was not even showing the creature it's about.
I feel like we've seen lower budget films that have still shown the monster.
Yes. Yeah.
So what?
I mean, look at House Shark.
Yeah.
That was shocking, but we did see the house shark.
You did see the house shark. Yeah. I mean, we watched a movie called Terracuda versus something. I can't remember what it was. But I must
have blocked that from my mind.
You must have, yeah. You must have. But like, we watched that, and you've still got like CGI monster in that, and there was no way that budget was any more than this.
No.
I mean, it was the one thing I would say about it is it was a newer movie, so like CGI would
have come
or
along
like
a bit,
computer generated image would be better, but you can still do something. This is 2001. And
I mean, we had movies.
Jurassic
in the
Park was
90s.
94.
Yeah, I was going to say we had movies in the 90s. Yeah, like Jurassic Park at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it still doesn't look awful now, but at the time it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it absolutely was. And the thing
so
is,
yeah,
that
it did
was,
exist.
It was like 6 years later this film was being made. That
yeah,
you know, once that technology is out there
it?
to make that kind of thing, it gets cheaper and cheaper.
Mm.
What's expensive is the rigs to do it and the manpower to build it and do it well. But you know, yeah. So that's how I'd fix it, and that's how you'd fix it. See the monster more.
Yeah, just actually do something more with the actual monster and
Yeah.
actually let us see it.
Yeah.
So okay,
Kind of key for monster movies.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to at least see the monster. I mean, bit of a downer after Frankenhooker.
Yes.
Yes. What would you rate the movie?
Oh, if we were starting, if we took a movie and we started at 5 stars and we chipped away at the stars to get down, I think I'd want to take a star away or half a star away for every person that murdered the Scottish accent.
Yeah.
So like minus 50.
I can't.
No, I can't. I can't go away to the minus 50 there. But yeah, I'm thinking like a 1. A 1. I mean, I've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah. It hasn't got any better.
It hasn't got any better in any of them. There's a lot wrong with it. You know, like you don't see the monster. You don't really care very much about the people that are in it.
No.
You don't. You know, like when Case is lost under the water and you know they're all sad. I'm not feeling sad.
No.
Because he's a dickhead.
We've had this before though, haven't we? Where we just don't warm to any of the characters. There's not enough character development for us to go, we actually care one way or the other about these.
No, absolutely
whether they're
not.
a decent person or a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
You should feel something towards the main characters one way or the other, shouldn't you? And be like, oh, he's a prick, or oh, you know, someone goes missing. You should be like, oh, where are they? Like, are they going to find them?
Yes.
You should care a bit. But yeah, I agree with you. I didn't care about any of the characters. Yeah, I'm hovering around a 1, maybe even 0.5, because I can't think of what I would give it a whole point for. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of lines in it that I giggled at.
Yeah.
But I was really bored watching it, and
yes,
you're almost kind of waiting for something to happen. Like, things do happen, but not enough happens. I want to see the monster in a monster movie.
Yes.
And there's so many monster movies, like all the versus movies, like Sharknado versus whatever. There's all those ones, isn't there?
There's always something.
You always see the creatures.
Yeah.
That's the main part of the movie.
And I know you also want in these movies tension.
Yeah.
But the way they created tension was everybody just being hostile to them for no good reason. Just hostility, but not going really anywhere with it. Like the hostile fisherman. Well, then they killed the fisherman off really quickly.
Yeah.
The hostile Coast Guard, well, yeah, he put him in prison one night.
Yeah.
But that was it. He didn't really do anything with that hostility. There was no real villain in this film because Nessie wasn't really a villain either. No. You know, yeah. Poor, very poor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and record the flip side, and we're going to be talking about like a lot of bad stuff for this film. Yeah. So it's going to be hopefully a really interesting flip side episode. Yeah. And obviously, if you want to come and hear us talk about all the bad bits, you can join us at www.patreon.com/ICBadMovies, where for $3 a month, you will have access to all of our back catalogue of bad movies and other special Christmas episodes, etc., that we've released, and hear us tear into beneath Loch Ness a little bit further. And I know we've alluded to the accents, but I promise you, I have got lots of lines written down, and I will be delivering them
in the accent they used.
That they used.
So it's worth coming over to.
It's going to be worthwhile coming over for that. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah.
But it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.